Okay, so this podcast is about the nature of gender. And this is what I love about podcasts is I'm actually in a place called Glenorchy in New Zealand. And I came for a drive to clear my head and to basically just get out of the house because I've been working just non-stop. And, there's guys in the house replacing some of the pipes and relaying some floor. And it was disrupting me big time. And rather than just take the hint and take a break, I'm trying to figure out ways to circumvent the distraction. But so here I am. I've been for a drive. I've given myself the gift of a break and just looking at the lake and the mountains, snow-topped mountains, and it's just pristine. There's swans diving, and what I want to do is share my thoughts that I've been having around gender. Well, it's not so much my thoughts; it's my perspective that I have on gender. But this is the topic that I've been considering and thinking about a lot at the moment. So, I can pretty much guarantee what you're about to hear you won't have heard before, and you certainly won't find it in a book anywhere. Nonetheless, this is my perspective. So gender, it's a hot topic at the moment. There's lots of topics regarding gender in the media, and lots of controversy around the use of pronouns, and certain countries and nations considering making laws about how we refer to certain genders using the correct pronouns. And it's a bird's nest. You've got some of the greatest minds on the planet, like Ben Shapiro, in a really robotic way, just viewing gender from the perspective of biology, which is just, gender transcends just biology. And in fact, it's imbued into everything. And all I see is misconception on this topic everywhere, from everyone. And, if you look at the languages and you look at, the one that I know of is the French language. Some things are masculine, some things are feminine. And it's not so much, the biology is one thing, but our nature of being masculine and feminine is still gender, of how our nature wants to arise. It's still gender based, even to the point of energy. Within electricity, we have gender, positive and negative, masculine and feminine. And that's all that it means. It's masculine and feminine is positive and negative. And so in order to understand this, and to, make sure that I cover the topic of biological gender, we have to go back to the source, to the beginning. And the reality is that all of us, everything that we're made of, all the atoms that make up your biology, all came from plasma, from the plasma within a star that exploded and became a neutron star, both radiant with a positive charge and magnetic with a negative charge. And so if you imagine a neutron star as a toral field, as a torus, when it actually exploded, it through the process of radioactive decay, the plasma disintegrates into matter. And then as that matter is, all those particles exploded into space, they start to draw in their own gravity, because everything's a microcosm of the macrocosm. So even the tiniest of particles is a neutron star. Protons, neutrons within electron field, an electron cloud existing as pure potential, like it's almost like it's a body. So, even if you break open a proton, there are quarks, and they're unified by plasma, and they're just spinning almost at the speed of light. But it's important to understand that those atoms were created by this neutron star explosion. Your body is ancient, because those original particles from what we would call the Big Bang, I suppose, became atoms. They began to radiate their own gravity. They began to collide with each other and form bonds and become more complex elements. And the more and more gravity they gained, the more they formed more complex compounds, till eventually planets came into being. These planets are made of atoms and molecules, and you begin to see the evolution of life. And our everything in our bodies came from this planet. This planet came from the explosion within a neutron star. That's where it originated. And so you can call plasma the true source of all that is. Of all that is. The true source of all that is plasma. And the nature of plasma is that it exists as the potential to become anything. Absolutely anything. And everything that you see in your environment right now, your body, the tree I'm looking at, this car, all began its life as plasma. Pre-manifested energy. Just imagine the core of that star. Within its core, it's pure plasma. Within your core, within your body, within your blood, it's pure plasma. The energy that you radiate through your power centers. Call them chakras, whatever you want to call them. They are radiant and magnetic. And that energy, each power center symbiotic with the other, combining and infusing together to form, different forms of energy with different frequency and vibration, vibrating the plasma within your body. Just signals being passed, just being expressed all the time. And if you're familiar with 3D printing and the new process of where there's just a pool of liquid and the 3D print just emerges out of this primordial liquid. It's the vibration that's sent into this liquid through rays, through the radiation. So I don't want to get too complex and too technical, but understand this is not mystical. This is scientific. This is the nature of reality. This is the nature of physics. So how this correlates to gender is that Radiant energy is masculine, has a positive charge, and feminine energy is magnetic, has a negative charge. One of them is so it's, if you think of magnetism, it pulls, it draws in, it sucks, and masculine energy is forward moving, it radiates, it propels. And I've spoken about the nature of 0 point energy on another podcast if you're interested in listening. Especially if you're an inventor, you might find it quite useful, because the key to 0 point energy is lies within the fact that within a toral field that's radiant and magnetic, positive and negative, masculine and feminine, just before the magnetic energy reaches the 0 point again. So if you imagine the radiant energy being expressed out of the 0 point, and then folding in over itself to then be magnetized back to its source at the 0 point, you can think of the magnetic aspect of that field as a black hole. And the most gravity in existence exists one fractal before the 0 point within that black hole. That is the most powerful energy that there is. And this is where the source of perpetual energy exists, because this universe that we're in is a toral field. It's radiant and magnetic. And when you understand that it's continually expanding, it's eternal, it means that it is receiving more energy that it is expressing. And that energy that it receives is one fractal, is contained within one fractal. We call it 1/64th. So when you understand that if you can take a square, you can draw a line down the middle, split it into two. You can then draw another line, split that into three. You can keep drawing lines. You can actually, if you had the ability to keep zooming in and zooming in and zooming in, you would realize that you're always able to split the last square that's left. You're always able to split it. So it never becomes truly whole, because it can keep becoming more and more. I can keep drawing another line, and it becomes a vortex. It's like a tunnel. It never ends. This is the nature of a toral field. If you can tap into and understand that there's a deliberate imperfection in the field due to the algorithm, where it never becomes entirely whole again, and that if you can tap into that, it's one fractal beyond the magnetism of the toral field, has the most gravity, has the most magnetic energy that there is in existence. And when we harness that, the potential of that, it becomes perpetual, because that's what enables a torus to continually and perpetually radiate and magnetize, of course, because the two are symbiotic. So anyway, I digress. If that's interesting to you, there's a whole podcast on it. I'm not interested in taking credit or whatever. I just want to see people begin to use it, and I want to see it become normal, because it's just science. So here's the thing about masculine and feminine. Is one is positively charged, one is negatively charged. Now, when these explosions happen, the Big Bang, every positively charged particle has an antithesis. And I think scientists are calling it antimatter. Now, it's important for me to just share with you. I don't follow science, so I find this information within me. I don't find it in books or anything. So, I actually have no clue really about modern science at a deep level. But what I see is that every particle has an antithesis, and this is what we need to understand about the nature of our reality as human beings, because we think that, like, let's say for those of you that are on the path of self-awareness, you likely are aware of the mind, the body, and the spirit, the great Trinity. And if you've gone quite deep into yourself, you've come to realize that, you go through that phase of, oh, I am not my body. Oh, I am not my mind. Oh, I am not my soul. Or, oh, I am my soul. And then you get to this realization that, okay, I am my soul. And you begin to resonate with the truth of that. And you're like, okay, so what is everything else? And then the usual phase is to go through that phase of trying to transcend your ego, trying to be authentic by negating the personality, or, dealing with the inner narcissist, or whatever it may be. We see the ego as this thing we've got to fight against and conquer, or to transcend. Or some people are aware of integrating it, but we see the personality as the enemy, and that underneath the personality is the true self. And this is where it gets very interesting, because your soul, or your spirit, it exists. It is like analog, and everything you are seeing through your eyes, everything that you are witnessing, is the digital projection. It is that simple. It is that simple. And so, what does that mean? It means that you are witnessing yourself becoming. You are witnessing what you have the potential to become. Your truest nature is that you are plasma. That is your source. You are that source. And before the plasma became, exploded into separate particles, before it began disintegrating, it was whole. It existed as the potential to become everything that you're experiencing in your life now is disintegrated plasma. So what that means is that your soul is not separate to what it is witnessing. It is a reflection of what it is. So that means if you see a man, you are a man. If you see a woman, you are a woman. If you see a tree, you are a tree. Everything that you experience and that you see and perceive is what you are. The soul is all of it. The soul is the mask and the unmasked. It is the personality, and it is the essence. It's like a turtle. And I use this analogy a lot. It has a shell. You don't say to the turtle, "Oh, that shell's inauthentic." You need to be vulnerable. You need to be the vulnerable turtle underneath the shell. Take the shell off. But no, the turtle is the shell, and it is the vulnerable flesh underneath. It's both. It's both. And it's the same for the soul. The soul is not feminine. It is not feminine. It is both masculine and feminine. It is both. And it is has become aware that it is varying degrees of the same thing, and that is gender. Or it's varying degrees of both positive and negative, because it's pure plasma. And plasma is, when it begins decaying, it is positive and it is negative. It is masculine and it is feminine. And so this has when you understand this, you realize that, you realize what that saying, be the change that you want to see, really means. It means that everything that you want to change in someone else, or in society, or in the world, is actually a potential within yourself to become something different. You are seeing what you are. The wars, the raping, the pillaging, the theft, the oppression. It's just a mirror of you. It's a mirror of you, showing you what you are. I am this. I am a planet. I am a tree. I am a lake. I am a duck. I am a boat. I am a terrorist. I am a tyrant. I am the whole gamut. I am this. I am this. But the problem is, our nature, we don't want to see. We don't want to see what we truly are. We refuse to look at ourselves. And, lots of people in the world manifest a reality within which their eyesight begins to deteriorate, because they refuse to look at themselves. Because everything you're looking at in the world is you. Because you are the soul. But you are also the mind, and you are also the body. Because all of it is plasma. All of it. All of it is decaying plasma. Disintegrated plasma. Existing as the potential to become anything and everything that you can see. And as you see it, your soul is realizing what it is. I am that. I am this. I am that. I am that. I don't want to look at that. I don't want to see that I am that. I don't want to see that I am the victim and the perpetrator. The level of self-responsibility that's required in order to accept the truth of this is profound. It's huge. And most of us will struggle to develop the maturity to accept this, because it's very, very hard. It's very, very hard. But once you do, you begin to express yourself from the knowing and the understanding of your source, and that the source of what you are, plasma, is within you. When you express from that perspective of knowing that, what you realize is that your truest nature is to see what you have the potential to become. You want to see what you have the potential to become. And, when this is why the explosion happens, and then forms a spirit, and then forms a body, forms a mind. But the reality is that the mind is everything. The mind is the body. The mind is the positively charged spirit. But the soul is the plasma. It is the pre-manifested plasma that has the potential to become and to decay into any form of matter. We see this in the experiment that scientists do, where they fire a photon, which is a wave, and then when it's observed, it becomes a particle. Pure light comes from the sun. It exists as the potential to become anything, but it decays into that form. So I want to also talk about the mind, because we think of the mind as, conscious mind, subconscious mind, and then there's this thing called the unconscious, and the subconscious is running everything, and things are happening subconsciously. The subconscious remembers everything and all this kind of stuff. But it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Consciousness is a manifestation of what the unconscious has become aware of. Now, I know that's going to bend your mind. But consciousness is the positively charged, manifested, digital version of what the analog plasma has become aware of, that it is. I am this. And, I've spoken on lots of my podcasts about how our interpretation of what we're observing determines what consciousness becomes next. And that consciousness is just a mirror showing the soul that this is what you are. But in truth, I have created this, and this is what I am. And, at some point in your journey, you'll come across, you'll evolve into the perspective of understanding that you want to, well, this is how it happened for me. It may be this is how it happens for men or masculine energy, but I first became aware that my desire was to realize the highest potential for everything I can become and create. Always the highest potential, always looking for the greatest potential. And once you become in touch with the part of you, because that's an aspect of the Trinity, the mind. It wants to realize the highest potential, but that perspective is devoid of the perspective of the soul, of the spirit. And when you begin to realize that, when you begin to feel that energy and embrace it and allow yourself to express from that understanding, you realize that you don't want to realize the highest potential of what you can become. You want to create what you want to become, and you want to witness. You want to witness yourself becoming what you want to become, what you desire to become, not what you have the potential to become, but what you want to become. Two very different things. Two very, very different things. Because, and I'll explain this briefly, I don't want to get into manifestation or anything here, but actually, no, I'm not going to. It's going to divert from the topic of gender. There's other podcasts about that. But, so I want to talk about gender now. And so what are we witnessing? Where there are lots of people who are gender fluid. There are lots of people who are, there's so many different labels that we have. Pronouns, him, her, they. People are non-binary, binary. I actually don't even understand it myself. It's so confusing. And but here's the nub of it, is that you're witnessing it, you're seeing it, and therefore that is what you are. You are seeing a person that is being born potentially with both sets of genitalia, but identifying as a man, or identifying as a woman, or neither, or both. This is what it's showing us. It's showing us that we are not one or the other. We're both. The soul is witnessing itself. The spirit is negatively charged, and it is seeing itself through a positive charge, a radiant charge. The negatively charged particles are unseen. And so when they become positively charged, they radiate. They can then become seen. I can see what I am. Until I see what I am, I can see what I am. I'm in darkness. I'm in darkness. So let there be light. So that I can see what it is I have the potential to become. So there we have it. No, that's a man. No, that's a woman. No, it's both. And every human being on the planet is varying degrees of one thing, and that is gender. Some are less feminine than others. Some are more masculine. Some are less masculine and more masculine. All of us are varying degrees of both. All of us. Now, biologically, whether you have male or female genitalia. So what do you do here? Again, varying degrees of one thing. Hormones. Varying degrees of one thing. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So, ultimately, all that matters is what you decide that matters. Does it matter that that people are unable to define you as how you define yourself? Of course not. Of course not. The pain that you feel by other people not recognizing the truth of how you identify is because you don't understand yourself yet. You don't understand that you are fluid, and that someday you can express yourself in a very masculine way, and in another moment you can express yourself in a very feminine way, because you're plasma and you have the potential to express absolutely anything and everything, physically and emotionally. But gender is one thing. It is one thing. And at the most fundamental level of when the plasma began to disintegrate, the matter and antimatter are identical. They are absolutely identical, exactly the same, except one has a positive charge, one has a negative charge. All of us at the deepest levels are entirely the same. Entirely the same. The masculine charge particle is identical to the feminine charge particle. So, understand this. The soul is masculine and feminine. It is a man and it's a woman. And it's neither. And it's both. And so are you. So, that's pretty much it. That's the nature of gender from my perspective. And yeah, I can definitely see myself talking about this topic again. Obviously, the ramifications of understanding this are pretty huge. But if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't matter. These kinds of audios, these kinds of podcasts are multi-layered. I'm hyper aware that as I'm speaking about one thing, I'm leaving a breadcrumb for another, and that's how it's meant to be. What's relevant for you will be relevant for you, and the entire thing could be irrelevant, and that's relevant. Yeah. The paradox. Paradox is actually related to this, because paradox really simply means that you understand that everything is the same. that something and nothing are varying degrees of the same thing. And so, when we don't realize that, when we think we're one thing and not the other, all we see is polarity, opposites. That once you understand the true nature of polarity, that the radiation is an exact mirror of the magnetization, it's identical in every way, then you realize that you're both. You're both. Okay, so I'll leave it there. That's been it for the nature of gender. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers for now.